I was trying to come up with a proper intro to this video. However, I couldn't come up with anything clever, so I'm just going to say it bluntly. Batman Forever is insane.
More power!
Batman Forever is one of the most peculiar superhero movies of all time. It's a crossing point between the darker and serious Tim Burton movies to the batshit crazy of Batman and Robin. Pun intended. It has received a mixed reception over the years, some saying it's a mess of a movie, while others saying it's an underrated masterpiece. And by reading this title, you can tell I love this movie. But I will admit it does have plenty of flaws. However, I will show you why it's still unironically good while still being a blast to watch. Let's begin. So this movie has been criticized for having several different tones throughout the film. There's moments where it would fit Tim Burton's Batman, with scenes with Batman brooding, having deep conversations. Then there's shit with the villains that remind me this is Batman Forever, a silly movie. However, I think the film does its best to balance it out. The scenes with darker or lack of exaggerating lighting is when the movie is serious. Not to say there's not humor in some of these scenes, but it does take themselves seriously for the most part. When Batman is talking to Dick Grayson in the Batcave about revenge, the scene doesn't crack a joke, it allows the serious subject to be explored by the characters. Granted, some dumb stuff does get into the serious scene sometimes. Like that smile after Chase said to Batman that she likes Bruce. Like, did no one say this would look silly? But for the most part, the serious scenes are fine. They know not to make jokes. Most of the time.
A girl can't live by psychoses alone.
It's the car, right? Chicks love the car.
On the other end, when you get to scenes wherein Two-Face storms the party that Batman and Riddler are at, showing their stuff off, the scene is played 100% unbridled corny. And the performance in this movie matches that as well. Overall, the performances in this movie are pretty good. For example, I do like Val Kilmer's Batman. Is he the best? Nope. But he does have his own style, pulling off a Batman with dry humor. And he does pull off the serious scenes as well, showing to be more of a seasoned Batman who's been through a lot during these movies. That extends to most of the other cast as well, in terms of quality, with the exception of Chris O'Donnell. Although it's not because he's doing a horrible job, it's because he's an adult trying to be a teenager, which doesn't work because no one would ever think this man was a teenager. Like, I know they did this because Chris O'Donnell was really popular at the time, but come on, guys. That wasn't worth it at all. However, everyone else is still great, specifically Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey as the villains, who are a joy to watch in every scene. Now let's talk about the big bad in this movie. Tommy Lee Jones plays the Joker, cosplaying as Two-Face, and Jim Carrey plays the Joker, cosplaying as the Riddler. Now, if I'm honest, they aren't good adaptations of their source material, because they don't really act like them. They are extremely exaggerated to fit the tone of this world, that being cartoonish and goofy. Now that could work if their writing matches with their characters. However, again, they come off as Joker versions of their own characters rather than just being silly versions of their characters. And it's not like the film doesn't know how to do the characters right. An example of the movie doing a character right is Batman himself. While yes, he's a bit jokey and does some interesting things, he still acts like Batman. He's still an intelligent detective, we all know. He still takes the job seriously, and when shit goes down, he recognizes the situation and he'll stop bullshitting the whole thing. Two-Face and Riddler, not so much. They got the basics right. A guy with half his face scarred, flipping a coin to decide what he does, and a guy who loves riddles. But the film only succeeds on the surface level. Two-Face does some out-of-character actions that wouldn't happen with any other version of the character. The scene when Two-Face and Riddler storm Bruce Wayne's house, Two-Face keeps flipping the coin until it allows him to attack. If this film wrote Two-Face proper, Two-Face would have beaten up the Riddler and his bad guys and helped Batman out. But nope. The Dark Knight does a similar idea, but much better. In that movie, Two-Face is talking to the guy who screwed him over. He flips the coin, but it lands heads up so Two-Face doesn't kill him. but he flips the coin again and kills the driver, which gets the other guy killed. Two-Face is a clever villain, and if the coin doesn't give him what he wants, he'll find a way to get around this, not just cheat. With Jim Carrey, the performance is more at fault here. Jim Carrey's acting is so over the top, you wonder if the filmmakers weren't trying to make him Joker 2.0. But remember that Joker died in the first movie, so they had to make him the Riddler instead? A better version of a goofy Riddler is from Batman Brave and the Bold. The Riddler there wasn't acting like he was exposed to Joker gas. With all that said, however, I can't say they aren't putting their hearts into this movie. Every scene with them is a blast to watch as they try to overact each other and act hilariously that I can't stop smiling at.
What you could have done is let me in on the caper. We could have organized this, planned it, pre-sold the movie rights. Your entrance was good, his was better. Why can't you just die?
When they are on screen, they deliver their lines with such passion that I couldn't stop laughing at a few points. Michelle Pfeiffer as Chase Merlin is fine. She doesn't do a horrible job. And I will admit, I was kind of invested in her character. I do like the idea of a Batman groupie. It does set her apart from other Batman love interests, which is why I'm kind of disappointed that she hasn't appeared much in other versions of Batman. She does have an interesting character, and it could be greatly expanded upon in other Batman stories if given the right writers for the job. The plot of this movie is that the Riddler has invented a new device, the box, which allows people to display their inner thoughts or whatever. And it lets Enigma kind of fuck around with those people's minds as well, getting information from them. But after being rejected by Bruce Wayne, the Riddler snaps and teams up with Two-Face, who's also been causing trouble for Batman, such as in the first scene when he tries to kill Batman, and then later on when he gets Dick Grayson's family killed. During this time, Batman meets a woman by the name of Dr. Chase Meridian, who's very attracted to Batman, which causes Bruce Wayne to wonder, who is he really? Is he Batman or is he Bruce Wayne? Overall, this plot is really good. There's a lot of interesting character work you can do here, such as when Bruce Wayne is trying to talk to Dick about not trying to kill Two-Face out of revenge, because that will only make his feelings worse. Also the idea, Batman trying to struggle with his identity, especially with this new woman in his life who seems to value Batman over Bruce Wayne. Later, it does get resolved that Chase likes Bruce more, but it is interesting for what it is. However, since this is Batman Forever, there's a lot of silly shit in this movie. This leads into my next argument, the most controversial part yet. I like the jokes in this movie.
Can I persuade you to take a sandwich with you, sir?
I'll get drive-through.
Yes, this movie is criticized for its humor, and yes, humor is subjective, so I can't say this movie is objectively funny. However, I can say the jokes do make sense within the context of the movie and its tone. As I said earlier, the movie does balance it out well enough that it doesn't feel like a punch in the face. However, this leads into another criticism of the movie where people don't like how this is a tone of departure from the other two movies, which take themselves much more seriously, and that's a fair point. Granted, that's more of a subjective thing, personal tastes, but I do get when somebody would be turned off by this film's tone, especially since it's a sequel to those movies. However, I will still argue this movie is incredibly funny. But that leads into a major problem with this film, that it often fails at serious scenes and makes them hilarious, such as Riddler's first attempt to use his invention, the box, when this happens. I mean, yeah, it kind of fails at the mood it's trying to set, but you can't say it's not entertaining to watch. Flawed, but fun. But that doesn't mean there's not more questionable writing. Throughout the movie, Batman is clear to Dick Grayson that killing Harvey won't help him with his grief, and it will only make it worse. However, Batman does sort of kill Harvey. Batman throws a bunch of coins when Two-Face flips his coin, making him confused about which coin is his coin. causing him to fall to his death, contradicting the whole message of what Batman was trying to tell Dick. Now, to be fair, Batman didn't kill out of revenge, and you can say it was an accident. But Batman didn't really try to save him, and he just let Two-Face fall. Not even dive down trying to catch him. Like, really? Would it have been hard to go get him and use a grappling hook to make sure you're both okay? Real smooth, Batman. And in an earlier scene, when Dick takes the Batmobile out to the most stylish crime alley ever, the gangs there call him Batboy, despite the fact that he looks like he's in his 20s. Again, you can blame the casting director rather than the writing in this scene. Since you focus on the dialogue, it's not that bad, showing Dick trying way too hard to be cool in front of these street punks. Although, why did he go there and try to impress these guys? They are criminal scum, dude. What do you get from impressing them? And the punks here are pretty stupid for not recognizing Dick. Like, his parents died. That had to be on the news or something. So people would at least know, hey, that's that kid whose parents died. This guy could lead you to where Batman is hiding out. You could find a way to beat Batman. Oh my goodness, street punks, you're so stupid. This is why Batman keeps beating you guys. In conclusion, with all that being said, is Batman Forever a great movie? No, not really. There are still legitimate problems with this movie that drags it down a bit. From the questionable writing at times to the odd casting of Chris O'Donnell as Robin. And it sometimes fails at being serious. But it does have a lot of good scenes in this movie, and Val Kilmer tries his heart out for this role, along with Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones. Despite their characters being not handled well, they still deliver amazing performances to make this movie a fun ride. Batman Forever is a flawed but charming film that I think people hate on a bit much on, and it's fairly underrated. It's not the best in the series, but it's incredibly enjoyable. It brings interesting ideas to the series while still being a fun Batman movie. Definitely a recommendation for me. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Leave a like and subscribe, and share this video around. I would appreciate it very much. Have a nice day.